The Way of Nature. Xiefeng. January 28, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. The way of nature is the way of the greatest creator. The way of Tao is natural. Everything that conforms to nature belongs to Tao. The way of Tao is manifested by nature. The way to enter Tao is to be natural. The way to attaining Tao is to conform to nature. The way to unite with Tao is to follow nature. Nature is the laws and principles and various existences and phenomena of the boundless universe. To follow nature means to think and act in accordance with these laws and principles, and not to artificially interfere and change its original operating programs. The way of nature is the operating program defined by the laws and principles of the boundless universe. The main path, Tao, is easy to walk on. The main path is the way of nature. The way of nature is simple and easy to walk on, smooth and soothing. All behaviors that violate nature are called going against the Tao, and going against the Tao is complicated, difficult, tortuous, and painful. People, when you feel that life is happy, joyous, free, and blessed, it proves that you are walking in the way of nature. People, when you feel that life is full of troubles, pain, anxiety, or sorrow, it proves that you are walking against the Tao. How do you follow the way of nature? Eat when you should eat, drink when you should drink, sleep when you should sleep, do when you should do, play when you should play, use when you should use, live when you should live, die when you should. Do not worry. Do not get angry. Do not persevere. Do not expect. Do not seek success. Do not seek excellence. Do not make plans. Do not set goals. Do nothing, as everything will eventually fall into place. Take things as they are. Associate with others by following the predestined relations. Act in accordance with your nature. Take advantage of opportunities as they arise. What kind of behavior can be accounted as against the Tao? When you should eat, you do not eat. When you shouldn't eat, you eat. When you should drink, you do not drink. When you should not drink, you drink. When you should sleep, you do not sleep. When you shouldn't sleep, you sleep. When you should act, you take no action. When you shouldn't act, you act. When you should play, you do not play. When you shouldn't play, you play. When you should use something, you do not use it. When you should not use something, you use it. When you should live, you do not live. When you should not live, you insist on living. When you should die, you do not die. When you should not die, you want to die. You are worried and angry, persisting and expecting. You seek success, shortcuts, excellence, magical power, and miracles. You make plans, set goals. You get caught in your own trap. You are not satisfied, insatiable, and insist on glorifying your ancestors. You insist on owning houses and cars, being the best kind of man and becoming a celestial being and Buddha, etc. What are the benefits of taking the way of nature? The advantages are calmness, peace, joy, health, less trouble, and less sin. What are the consequences of going against the Tao? The disadvantages are being impetuous, distracted, worried, and anxious, dogged by bad luck, and committing evil again and again. From the above benefits and consequences of walking with or walking against the way of nature, we can see that the consciousness level of those who follow the way of nature is high. According to the Hawkins energy and emotion hierarchy diagram, the energy level of those who follow the way of nature is above 540, and the energy level of those who are against the Tao is below 200. It can be confirmed that those who go to heaven are those who follow the way of nature, and those who go to the animal world and hell are those who go against the Tao.
力令智昏，智令心昏，心令性昏。
Profit fails wisdom, wisdom fails the heart fails nature. Xiefeng. July 13, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. The short human life is full of ups and downs, mixed with joy and sorrow. The human life is like a bubble, full of uncertain separations and reunions and thousands of regrets. Before reaching the end of its life, your body and soul collapse and you are overwhelmed by grief. Without understanding what is going on, you sink into the sea of suffering and the cycle of reincarnation. What is so powerful that it makes our life's scene of blooming bleak and tears down the lus? The answer is profit, wisdom, and the heart. Profit fails wisdom. Looking through the historical scrolls of images, the word prophet has overwhelmed so many heroes and charming people. Waves of tragedy, waves of regret, like windswept clouds rolling, the irrational prophet seeking people go down the riverbed of human history, which makes these people deeply sigh with sadness. Profit, whether it is for the benefit of power, wealth, or fame, as long as you pursue it, you will lose your rationality and reason. In the end, you will bury your kinship, friendship, good years, and even your bright future as well as your precious lives in the bottomless abyss of profit and desire. Just look at people who are running for profit, they focus only on profit, and they are desperate for profit, and few of their lives do not end in tragedy. Profits which are obtained by serving others are good. Profits which are obtained by merit are complete. The rest are all disasters. Wisdom fails the heart. The heart is like a mirror, and the mirror can observe the cause and effect of things in the world, which makes one's mind pure, consciousness clear, and spirit energetic. If the mirror is covered with dust, one cannot see clearly and cannot see through the truth of things. As a result, people will be confused, often making wrong judgments and having bad behavior. When a person is knowledgeable, intelligent, arrogant, and pretentious, their heart is muddled. Just look at the people who write books and make statements, those who teach scriptures, those who write long speeches, and those who sell morals and ethics. They are all people with high intelligence. However, their hearts are mostly muddled. This is called wisdom makes the heart dim. Believing and following the preaching and guidance of these dim-hearted people is like walking toward the desert and death. The heart fails people's nature. The heart is born for all things and all phenomena. Without the boundless universe, there would be no heart. When this phenomenon occurs, the mind will be born. When this phenomenon disappears, the mind will die. The mind changes with the condition. There are very few people who can change the condition with their heart. People have many things on their mind, and their hearts have many knots. The mind is a mirror which only reflects objective reality. The mind is not the objective reality itself. Therefore, the mind is not reliable. When we rely on the illusion of the heart to make inductive judgments and then make decisions and put them into action, we are deceived by phenomena. Our hearts are constantly changing. If we know each other, we will intuitively understand each other, and we are very much in love. But if two hearts are apart, we are seemingly in harmony but in fact at variance, and we become strange bedfellows. Can we rely on our hearts? Who can be sure that his heart will never change? Your own heart will change. Can you believe that others' hearts will not change? What can be relied on is a person's nature. It's easy to change rivers and mountains, but hard to change a person's nature. Nature is the original appearance of things. The patriarch Bodhidharma clearly stated in his Bloodstream sermon that, if you want to find Buddha, you must perceive nature. Without the perception of nature, it's no use reciting Buddhist scriptures, fasting and keeping precepts. Without the perception of nature, even those who can explain the creed of the 12 classics can only say demonic words. If you have perceived nature, you don't need to read the Buddhist scriptures and chant the name of Buddha. It's no use learning much since it will dim your spiritual consciousness. Overlooking the world, it's crowded with people and vehicles, feasting and revelry, hustling and bustling and jostling each other. These are all illusions. When we were alive, we felt that everything was true, and when we died, everything fell into silence. Isn't it a tragedy to live a whole life, be busy for a whole life, but return to emptiness? Not knowing where you came from and where you are going. Isn't it a tragedy? The Buddha Shakyamuni has already stated clearly, all active dharma are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows. Like dew and lightning, thusly should you meditate upon them. However, once you have perceived nature, the situation is very different. Melting into nature is eternity. Living in nature means reaching heaven. The realm of eight without is what I said the spiritual state of an immortal reached. But without the perception of nature, It is hard to enter the wonderful realm of 8 without. The conclusion is, do not pursue profit, do not show wisdom, do not rely on your heart, and allow your nature to bloom.
恐惧使我们远离真理。
Fear keeps us away from the truth. Xie Feng. August 15, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. Fear refers to the intensely depressing emotional experience that people feel when they are facing a certain dangerous situation, which they tried to get rid of but were unable to do anything. When fear occurs, it is often accompanied by a series of physiological changes, such as rapid heartbeat or irregular heartbeat, shortness of breath or pauses, increased blood pressure, a pale face, trembling lips, dry mouth, cold sweats, weakness in the limbs, etc. The phenomenon of physiological dysfunction often causes or promotes the occurrence of physical diseases. On the other hand, fear can cause obstacles to people's perception, memory, and thinking process, can make people lose the ability to analyze and judge the current situation, and cause behavior disorders. Baidu Encyclopedia. Faced with sudden dangers and crises, it is normal for people to be afraid. But before the coming of risks and crises, people can fantasize about a certain dangerous situation which causes them to feel fear. This is abnormal. It is a kind of disease, a kind of mental illness. Fear not only causes physiological dysfunctions, malfunctions of thinking, and behavior disorders, but also takes people far away from the truth. The closer to the truth, the farther away from fear. The farther away from the truth, the closer to fear. A person who has no fear is a person who is one with the truth, and a person who is fearful is a person who is one with falsehoods, evil, and ugliness. What is truth? Truth is Tao. What is Tao? Tao is the consciousness of the creator of everything and every phenomenon in the universe, and it is the synthesis of all the laws and principles of the universe. Only by knowing the Tao and being one with the Tao can all kinds of fears be eliminated. If you stay away from the Tao, you will be afraid in your heart. From this we can see that if we are afraid in our hearts, it proves that we do not know the Tao. If we are constantly in fear, it proves that we do not understand the Tao at all, and do not understand the truth. Simply put, the more we fear, the closer we are to hell. The less we fear, the closer we are to heaven. Therefore, among the 8 without realms described in the Sutra of attaining the state of immortality, one of them is without fear. If there is still fear, it means you have not attained the state of immortality yet. The lower the realm of life, the more fear there is. The higher the realm of life, the less fear there is. Hell is full of fear, heaven is full of joy. So, if we're in an environment where there's a lot of fear, it proves that this environment is very bad, almost like hell. If we live in an environment where there is little fear, it proves that it is an ideal environment, almost like paradise. It thus can be seen that a person who has many fears is close to hell. A person who has little fear is near heaven. What do we fear? Why should we fear? If we haven't done anything that hurts the world, why should we fear? If we haven't done anything stealthily, why should we fear? If we haven't done anything illegal, why should we fear? If we haven't hindered others living, why should we fear? We fear because we have been hiding something in our hearts. We fear because we have possessed too much, had too strong a desire for fame and fortune, and have been too ambitious. We fear because we are deeply entangled with secular ties, have too much sin and too little merit, and are too selfish. We fear because we do not understand the laws of heaven, we do not know the facts, we cannot distinguish between good and evil, and we are far away from the truth. We fear because we gain things we shouldn't gain. We fear because we have no faith and do not understand the Tao. If we know a little about Tao, we should have no fear. Not to mention the deep connotation of Tao, just examine the 3 connotations of Tao and we should not allow fear to be generated. Point 1. As a man sows, so shall he reap. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure. Good will be rewarded with good and evil with evil. If the reward is not forthcoming, it is because the time has not yet come. When the time comes, one will get one's due reward. 2. The sum of the positive and negative energies of the universe is 0, and what you pay and what you receive are always equal. Point 3. Everything in the universe runs in the Tao, and governments and everyone in the world also run in the Tao. The Tao is fair. It is up to the greatest creator to judge who is right or wrong, and it is up to Tao to assess our merits and faults. What should come will come, what should go will go. If we understand the above 3 points, will we still fear? If you still fear, then I tell you, you have done too many bad things. Then it's unreasonable if you do not fear. If you do not fear, who should fear? Of course, you should fear. Those who live in hell live in fear all the time. Examining our own lives, if we have always adhered to truth, goodness, beauty, love, faith, sincerity, diligence, and harmony, we need not fear. If we have been giving selflessly, we have not taken advantage of others, have not harmed nature, society, others, or other lives, why should we fear? If we have not violated the law and discipline, have not humiliated our ancestors, have not blasphemed God and Buddha, and have not blasphemed the spirits and deities, why should we fear? If we haven't blocked the way of others, haven't disturbed others' preaching, haven't judged others, haven't derogated others, haven't got in the way of others' living, why should we fear? If we haven't been extravagant and wasteful, and we have treated everything with kindness and love, why should we fear? Do we not believe that there are divinities watching over us? Do we not believe that our words and deeds, every action, every thought, are all being monitored and judged by the arrangements of Tao? If we think that the Tao will also do wrong to good people, it can only show that we do not understand the law of heaven, the law of Tao at all. If we are tortured and punished, the problem is not in external factors but in ourselves. Then, fear is useless. Complaining and resentment are even more useless. No one can escape the reward or punishment of a victim. Finally, what I want to tell you is that people with fear have no relationship with health, joy, freedom, happiness, and heaven.
通向仙岛的桥梁
The Bridge to the Celestial Islands. Xiafeng. October 5, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. It is said that the core of truth is in one sentence, while falsehoods are spread through millions of books. For 18 years, I have devoted myself to studying, preaching, and solving mysteries. Today, I can encompass the vast truth into 3 words: faith, love, and nature. That is to say, as long as you can exhibit faith, love, and nature to the extreme, you can reach the celestial islands, reach heaven. Or it can be said that we can achieve our greatest desires and realize our best ideals without reading extensively, researching and exploring, struggling and working hard, practicing abstinence from meat and saying prayers, as long as we completely believe, love, and let our nature blossom. Faith is a state of consciousness and mentality that has no doubts about the truth, things, or people. The first and most important thing to do in a person's life is to solve the problem of faith. Once the problem of faith is solved, the road of life is filled with happiness and freedom, and the road of life is filled with flowers and fragrances, and your life will be in order, and you can see in one encompassing vision how tiny all the mountains are. What to believe? You can believe in anything. As long as you believe, you grasp the core, the key, and you can fulfill your wishes. You can believe in the greatest creator, the ancestor of Buddha, believe in Tao, Jesus, Shakyamuni, Lao Tzu. You can believe in the king of devils, ghosts, the emperor, the president, the master, money, power, fame, profit, and carnal pleasure. You can believe in your parents, your children, your husband, your wife, your boss, your friends. You can believe in atheism, theism, creation theory, evolution theory, communism, capitalism, planning theory, and market theory. You can believe in the sun, the moon, the water, the mountains, the tortoises, and the caterpillars. You can believe in yourself, believe in everything whimsical, believe in lies, believe in strange conversations. In short, whatever you believe in, you can achieve something. As long as you firmly believe and have no doubts, your wishes will be fulfilled. And this is where the secret of magical powers also lies. For example, if you firmly believe that you can become a dragon, you can do it. And if you firmly believe that you can turn a stone into gold, you can definitely do it. Once you believe it, do not doubt it. Believing with doubts is not believing. When we doubt our beliefs, then our minds will become overcast with clouds and wind, flying sand and rocks. Even chickens and dogs will become restless around us. For example, between husband and wife, if the husband does not believe in the wife or the wife does not believe in the husband, then the couple will become strange bedfellows, each having their own axe to grind, and they will be uneasy, will start quarreling and fighting, and start living a life of misery. Since you believe something, do not use your own standards to test, judge, and examine what you believe. For example, if you believe that your boss is a real gentleman, then do not be displeased because your boss farted or molested a woman. For example, if you believe in the greatest creator, do not have doubts because you have encountered setbacks or hardships. Love is the most beautiful state in heaven and in the world. It is a state that combines truth, goodness, beauty, faith, sincerity, peace, and joy. Look at the blooming flowers. Love is in the blooming flowers. When a person becomes filled with love, he is the most sacred, most pure, most beautiful, and most radiant life in the universe. He is a Buddha, an angel, and a celestial being. Love has no desires. Love has no conditions attached. Love cannot be hurt. Love has no pain. Love has no self. Love has no object. Love has no morals or ethics, and love is irrespective of right or wrong. The essence of love is selfless giving and dedication. If a person is easily injured because of love, psychological injury, he has demands and expectations, troubles, pains, and regrets from the outside world because of his giving and dedication. He is angry, complaining, and raging because of love, and he is anxious, worried, and fearful because of love. He has no sense of love, and he himself does not love. Nature is a kind of primitive magnetic field formed by the structure of things, that is, the features of things. Nature is Buddha, nature is a celestial being, nature is an angel, and nature is truth. In the same way, nature is the devil, nature is a monster, nature is a demon, and nature is spirits. Nature is innate, and nature is Tathagata. Following one's nature means being natural. Following one's nature is to be one with the Tao. If you are following your nature, do not rely on your own cognition and thinking to analyze and judge, and do not weigh the pros and cons, but just live out your own Tathagata nature. The world's vast and voluminous scriptures, wisdom, knowledge, and preaching about self-improvement and self-refinement can be summed up in these three words: faith, love, and nature. These three words are the bridge to the celestial islands.
遵循自然之道，潇洒度人生。
Follow the way of nature and live your life naturally and without restraint. Xie Feng. October 10th, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. The way of the greatest creator is the way of nature, and the way of nature is based on the laws and principles that are strictly followed by all things. The way of nature is a program. Following this program is in line with the way of nature. Violating this program is deviating from the way of nature. Follow the way of nature and everything will be harmonious, including social harmony, physical harmony, mental and spiritual harmony. If you go against the way of nature, everything will be chaotic and disorderly, society will be turbulent, and people will have constant troubles, anxiety, and restlessness. Let's comprehend the way of nature from the gestation and birth of human beings. A few micrometers of sperm and a few millimeters of eggs combine, then develop and finally turn into a healthy human body. The complexity of this human body is unimaginable, with limbs and hair, internal organs, bones and nerves, blood and cells, 9 apertures and a meridian, height and skin color, etc. are all achieved proportionally. At the same time, the motor system, digestive system, respiratory system, urinary system, reproductive system, endocrine system, immune system, nervous system, and circulatory system are naturally achieved. After that, the feelings of the 7 emotions and 6 desires are born naturally, and when the pregnancy is completed in 9 months, the child will be born naturally. This series of complex developmental processes is a kind of program, and this program is the way of nature. Follow the way of nature and everything will be accomplished naturally without any effort. The entire universe is part of the way of nature, and there is no doubt that people are also part of the way of nature, especially the birth, growth, and death of people are part of the way of nature. Since man is part of the way of nature, then we follow the way of nature. How to follow the way of nature? Do the following: accept whatever comes up, follow your predestined relationships, follow one's nature and be non-active, take advantages of opportunities as they arise and be in peace. Since the way of nature is a kind of program, the program sets everything up and the program accomplishes everything, then we will live our lives naturally and unrestrainedly according to the program and let everything happen without extra effort. Accept whatever comes up. Take things as they are, ask for nothing. When everything comes naturally, just accept and endure. If there is a thatched house, then live in the thatched house. If there is a villa, then live in the villa. If there is a luxurious palace, then live in the luxurious palace. If there is an airplane, take the plane. If there is a car, drive the car. If you have a bicycle, ride the bicycle. If you must walk, then set out on foot. If you are to be a president, be a president. If you need to be a beggar with peace of mind. Never envy anything. Never ask for anything deliberately. There are thousands of people with thousands of faces and hearts. Never imitate others. Never follow in others' footsteps. Never listen to others' demands. Never listen to success lectures and demagogy. Never let power, status, reputation, beauty, money, house, car, awards, etc. guide you. Just be yourself, only be yourself. Follow your predestined ties. Follow your predestined relationships with people. When a good relationship comes naturally, follow it and associate with it, but not to fawn, cling to, or deliberately pursue. Follow the predestined relationships with affairs. Whenever something happens, just do it, no matter what it is, as long as you like it, as long as it suits your hobbies and expertise. Devote your time and energy to it and do it happily. Follow your fate. Accept whatever your destiny is happily. If you are destined to be 1.6 meters tall, do not be worried and envious of 1.8 meters. If you are destined to live by singing, then sing to your heart's content and never envy scientists or shepherds. If you are destined to have yellow skin and black eyes, never envy white skin and blue eyes. Follow your predestined relationships with places. Wherever you go, it is your home, and you will love all the places where you go. If you were born in Africa, never yearn for Europe. If you live in the countryside, never envy the city. If you live well somewhere, never deliberately move to another place or even think about emigrating abroad. Follow one's nature, be non-active. A bird will definitely fly. A flower will definitely bloom. An earthworm must be in the soil. A thief will definitely steal. A spider will definitely make a web. A hen will definitely lay eggs. With all lives, their living environment and their way of survival are determined by their nature. Asking tigers to eat grass, asking lambs to eat meat, asking fish to live on the grassland, and asking cattle and sheep to survive in water, all are against their nature. Only by following their own nature will they feel leisurely and relaxed. If you have a diamond cutter, you can do the work of mending porcelain wares. Without a diamond cutter, never try to mend porcelain wares. Follow your nature and let it fully bloom. Do not suppress yourself, and do not force yourself to achieve any goal or accomplish something. If you like to play in the mud, you can play in the mud as much as you can, and there is no need to force yourself to become a sculptor. Take advantage of opportunities as they arise and be in peace. The seasons alternate. There is a full moon only once a month. Many scenarios probably can only be experienced once in a lifetime. Therefore, it is said, opportunity knocks but once. When opportunities come, take the chance and take advantage of these opportunities fully. Do not miss the opportunity. Spring is the time to sow, and autumn is the time to harvest. Neither should be missed. When good things come, grab them quickly. When an opportunity comes, take the opportunity to do the things that should be done. Take advantage of the sunshine to dry your hay. Strike the iron while it is still hot. If the opportunity to become an official has come, hurry up and take the chance to become an official. When the chance to make a fortune comes, make haste. When the opportunity to accumulate merit has come, accumulate quickly. When the peach flower is about to bloom, hurry up and take the peach blossom for luck. When confidants come, take the opportunity to get together for a few drinks and get drunk. When the gods, Buddhas, and celestials are here, My goodness. How can you miss such a golden opportunity that only comes once in a lifetime? If no opportunity comes, it does not matter. Overlook the tides ebb and flow and flowers blooming and fading. Keep a calm mind. Even if you are a genius, if you do not have a chance, let it be buried. Life is short, but life is long. If the opportunity does not come today, wait for tomorrow. If it does not come this year, wait for next year. If it does not come this life, wait for the next life. Anyway, there will be opportunities. Do not be anxious or impatient. Follow the way of nature and life will always be cool and comfortable. You will no longer have worries and sorrows, anxiety and fears. Enjoy life no matter where you are or what you are doing. Remember, it's not that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve, not that you can do whatever you want. Everything has been set and arranged in the program of the way of nature, and the path of conforming to the way of nature is the path of Buddhas and celestial beings. It can also be said that if a person can truly follow the way of nature completely and thoroughly, he is already a Buddha and a celestial being.
自然之道之秘解析
An analysis of the mysteries of the way of nature. Xiafeng.
Septembre 2018-2021.
Chanyuan celestials follow the way of the greatest creator, that is, the way of nature. So what is the way of nature? The way of nature has the following 8 mysteries. Pregnancy has a time limit, and the delivery time is set. The implication is that everything has a time limit and cannot be surpassed. Once it is surpassed, it is against the way of nature. Application. Don't be in a hurry. If you have a wish in your heart, it is the equivalent of you being pregnant. When the wish will be delivered is related to the size of the wish. If your wish is just to have a cup of coffee, it can be realized in a few minutes or a few hours. If your wish is to own a luxurious villa, it may take several years or even decades to give birth. If your wish is to reach the kingdom of heaven, you need to wait for the time of delivery all your life. Sow in spring, cultivate in summer, harvest in autumn, store in winter. The meaning is to keep the timing sequence and don't mess with the order. If the timing sequence is wrong and the order is reversed, it violates the way of nature. Application. Different age groups should do the things fitting of their age group. For example, childhood is a time for playing, and the teenage years are for learning. If you study in childhood, you will violate the way of nature, and if you begin laboring as teenagers, you violate the way of nature. Rubbing ropes against wooden boards will cut into them, and dripping water onto stones will wear them down. The meaning is that as long as you focus on something, there will be a moment when things will turn around and you will become suddenly enlightened. Application. Concentrate on exploring a certain phenomenon or doing a certain thing. Don't be distracted, but wholly devoted. In this way, you will make gains. Reap melon from melon seeds and reap beans from bean seeds. The meaning is that you will reap what you sow. If you sow beauty, you will reap beauty. If you sow ugliness, you will reap ugliness. Application. Plant what you need in the future. If you want to go to hell, plant evil. If you want to go to heaven, plant goodness. Merits and demerits must be examined. Rewards and punishments must be executed. It means that nothing, no words or deeds, can escape the eyes of heaven, and rewards or punishments will definitely come in due course. Application. Always think of a pair of eyes above your head staring at you. So you must walk on a tightrope when doing things and when speaking, being neither cowardly nor tough. Channels form where water flows. Melons' pedicels fall when their fruit ripens. It means that you must have calmness and patience when doing things, and you should not rush for success. As long as you work hard, what you want will come true, and it will come naturally. Application. Don't force anything. If you work hard enough, you will achieve it naturally. If you don't work hard enough, what you want will come to a premature end, and you will come out empty-handed. Follow one's nature. This is the way to Tao. It means that our nature is a gift from the greatest creator. If it is a cat, just catch the mouse. If it is a mouse, just dig holes and steal grain. If it is tuberose, just bloom and spread the fragrance. If it is a cow or sheep, eat grass. This is the arrangement of Tao. Doing so is in keeping with the Tao, which is the way of nature. Application. When people ask me whether they should choose A or B, whether they should go east or west, my answer is always listen to your inner voice and follow your innermost drive. Why? Because the loudest voice and driving force in your heart is the Tao, which is your nature. If you do this, you will become one with the Tao. Tao will manage the birth, growth, punishment, and destruction of everything. It means that when people come to this world, their role has already been determined in the cosmic life script. If the script determines that you are a thief, then you will never become a professor. If the script determines that you are a villain, then it is absolutely impossible for you to be a good person. The Chanyuan celestials I am looking for must be innate, and they cannot be cultivated by education, just like no matter how we cultivate and guide cucumbers, cucumbers will never turn into tomatoes. In the process of human beings playing the role in the cosmic life script, when your turning point comes, you can't hide from it, and it's useless for you to ask for help. If you are destined to be a big villain, that's the arrangement of Tao. You cannot refuse it even if you pray to gods and Buddhas for help. There are various factors and personnel arrangements that lead you to the path of being a great villain. Similarly, the same is true for wanting to become a saint. This is called Tao arranges the growth. There are countless people who have been punished in the world. Who is punishing people? On the surface, people are punishing people, accidental events are punishing people, and natural disasters are punishing people. In fact, Tao is punishing people. The root cause lies in the natural law of you reap what you sow. If the Tao wants you to grow, no one can destroy you. If the Tao wants to punish you, no one can save you. Application. Since it is up to the Tao to arrange your birth, don't try to change it. Neither try to change others nor yourself. Since it is up to the Tao to arrange your growth, don't worry, and don't bother to find relationships and backers. What comes will come naturally, and what goes will go naturally. Since it is up to the Tao to arrange punishment, don't hide, and don't complain. Since it is up to the Tao to arrange destruction, just smile and go with the wind. After understanding the secrets of the way of nature, and looking at various phenomena in today's society, we will come to know that all bad phenomena are the results of violating the way of nature. Everyone can take stock and analyze their past and current situation. You will definitely find that your hardships and rough experiences are the result of you being against the way of nature.
我从游戏娱乐中看到了道的运行。
I perceive the functioning of Tao through gaming and entertainment. Xiafeng. June 14, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Playing struggling upstream poker game, playing mahjong, kicking shuttlecock, playing hide and seek, and engaging in various other game activities, does the Tao operate within them? The answer is undoubtedly yes, because Tao is present in everything, and everything exists within Tao. In games like struggling upstream poker game, Tao is certainly operating. Tao governs the evolution of everything, so gaming and entertainment are also within the realm of Tao. Gaming and entertainment can serve as an opportunity for enlightenment and a form of spiritual practice. Through gaming and entertainment, one can also attain Tao. Many people have played the game struggling upstream in poker. Have you ever noticed that the probability of drawing the joker cards, the big and small jokers, is higher for the player upstream? Or they may be drawn by the player downstream and contributed to the player upstream. Isn't it fascinating? What does this indicate? It indicates that only the player upstream has the qualification to obtain the joker cards. This is a rule. Regardless of how you shuffle and deal cards, there is an 80% chance that the joker cards will end up in the hand of the player upstream, showcasing their nobility. Now, Let's gather a few people to play Struggling Upstream and collect data to see how likely it is for the Joker cards to end up in the hands of the player upstream. Can we come up with a convincing percentage rule? No, this percentage rule cannot be derived. Why is that? This involves the observer effect in quantum mechanics. Is light a particle or a wave? When there is no observer, light behaves as a wave. But when there is an observer, light behaves like a particle. Photons possess both wave-like and particle-like properties. The nature of light depends on the observer. If no one is observing, it behaves like a wave. If someone is observing, it behaves like a particle. So, here's the answer. When playing Struggling Upstream, do the Joker cards end up in the hands of the player upstream or in the hands of other players? If everyone does not consciously count or keep track, the Joker cards will likely go to the player upstream. However, if someone consciously counts or keeps track, it is highly probable that the Joker cards will go to a player in the middle position. Quantum mechanics tells us that the manifestation of particles depends on interference of external factors. Once a person consciously wants to do something, the essential characteristics of things tend to exhibit completely opposite states. Does the operation of Tao have similar characteristics to the manifestation of particles? I cannot draw a conclusion at this moment because there are too many factors involved, and it is a complex matter. However, we can find some clues from natural phenomena. For example, the saying, when consciously planting flowers, they do not bloom, but unintentionally planting willows, they grow in abundance. Intentionally planting flowers involves too many human factors, so they do not bloom. Unintentionally planting willows lacks human influence, so they grow luxuriantly. As willow trees are easy to grow while flowers are difficult to cultivate, this phenomenon widely exists in nature and various aspects of human society. Based on the above analysis, I would like to propose the following 5 hypotheses. The history we learn from books may be precisely the opposite of real history. What we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch may all be false or illusory. Conscious and desirous efforts of individuals may be opposite to their ideals. Living without intent or purpose may align most closely with the operation of Tao and make it easier to attain. Living out one's true nature is the unification of Tao. 情债, the affection debt. 谢feng. January 31st, 2022. Translated by Qin Yu, edited by Peter. Debts can include property debts, money debts, affection debts, nature debts, and life debts. Property debt. You borrowed something from someone else and didn't return it, or you ate or took something that belongs to someone else without repaying it. You then owe a property debt. Money debt. You borrowed money from others and didn't repay it, so you now owe a money debt. Affection debt. You received help from others or received physical, psychological, and spiritual comfort without returning or compensating them. You incur an affection debt. Nature debt. Anyone who harms nature or others without making sufficient efforts and contributions will owe a nature debt. Life debt. As the saying goes, one who murders pays with the forfeit with his life. In fact, if you kill any life, you have to pay with your own life. If you killed a life and have not paid for it, then you owe a life debt. What we need to be vigilant about and keep in mind is that as long as the above-mentioned debts are not repaid, we will inevitably enter reincarnation, and there is absolutely no hope of going to heaven. This article focuses on affection debts. Affection debts are divided into debts of favor and love debts. The debt of favor means that others have helped you, but you have not correspondingly helped them, so you owe a debt of favor. Therefore, everyone should carefully recall who has helped them. If you have received help from others but have not returned the corresponding help, you should quickly find a way and an opportunity to help them. There is a value in life genuine. Do not offer help if someone does not ask for it. If you help someone without him asking for it, you are actually hurting him because he thus owes you a debt of favor, and you will make him become a pig in the next life. It is cruel to make him transform into a pig, dog, cow, or sheep to pay you back in the next life. Love debts are mainly the debts owed by men and women who are in love. People need comfort in their spirits and souls, and also need comfort in their physiology. When people get physical and receive psychological and spiritual comfort from the other side without giving the corresponding consolation to that other side, then they owe a debt of love. There is a predestined relationship in a love debt, and that predestined relationship is also a debt. Once you feel that you still have feelings for someone, and feel that you are in debt to someone or you can't forget him or her because of the deep affection, that means you owe a love debt. One of the core components of self-improvement and self-cultivation is to strive to repay the debts of property, money, affection, nature, and life. The most effective way to repay them is to do formless almsgiving, which especially works well for paying off life debts. I hope that on this New Year's Eve, everyone will have a clear mind, give more and take less, and after entering the Lunar New Year, repay all kinds of debts and end all kinds of worldly ties, and go to heaven freely and unrestrainedly.
思路清晰，人生才顺才有未来。
Clear thinking leads to a smooth life and a promising future. Xiafeng. February 1st, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. I mainly study the books without words. The natural phenomena and social changes are books without words, and people are also books without words. Reading people is like reading books without words. After studying many individuals, I've noticed a pattern. The clearer and more organized one's thinking, the smoother their life tends to be. Conversely, a disorganized mind leads to a difficult life. A core factor for an unsatisfactory life is a confused thought process. If one's thinking is muddled, their life is bound to be turbulent. From this, we understand that to make our life smoother, our first step should not be to pursue external success, but rather to adjust our thinking. Once our thoughts become clear, a smooth life will naturally follow. To predict someone's future, don't focus on their wealth, status, or facial features and physiognomy based on the 8 characters, Bazi. Instead, pay attention to the clarity of their thinking. If their thoughts are unclear, their future will likely be chaotic. If their thoughts fluctuate between clarity and confusion, their future will be a mix of success and failure. However, if someone's thinking is consistently clear, even reaching a state of profound understanding, their life will not only be smooth but will also lead them to a heavenly realm. The direction a nation or a country is headed can be determined by the clarity of the thinking of its citizens, especially that of its leadership. If the thinking is unclear, without a doubt, the future of that nation or country will be in turmoil. On the contrary, if the thinking is clear, the future will be bright, leading to prosperity and success. If you don't believe my viewpoint, you can randomly select an elderly person and observe whether their life has been smooth or not. If it has been, then check the clarity of their thinking. Without a doubt, it will be clear and organized. Take the case of a high-ranking official who has been steadily advancing in their career for over a decade. Suddenly, they commit a crime and are imprisoned, and their assets are confiscated. They experience a major setback. Is this a result of clear thinking or confusion? Undoubtedly, it is due to unclear thinking, as they believed that being in a position of power allowed them to act with impunity. Their lack of clear thinking led to this outcome. When someone writes an article, if it lacks focus, is rambling, has disjointed arguments, and is full of loopholes, without a doubt, their thinking is unclear, and their life will certainly not be smooth. Anyone who follows such an individual, no matter how many people he attracts, will ultimately suffer. Similarly, look at a person's living environment. If their bedroom, yard, and surroundings are dirty and messy, with garbage scattered everywhere, clothes and bedding left in disarray, and dishes piled up in the sink, there is no need for further analysis. Their thinking is undoubtedly unclear, and their life will match their environment chaotic and disordered. How to make one's thinking clear? This question is too broad and extensive to be fully revealed in a few sentences. It involves one's past merits, faith, worldview, values, and outlooks on life and life. However, one point worth considering is to read more books, travel more, observe more, and engage in deeper contemplation. Extend the scope of your thoughts as far as possible into the distant future. For example, the results of thinking about something 1 year ahead will be different from thinking about it 10 years ahead, and thinking about it 100 years or even 1,000 years ahead will be entirely different. The longer the time span of your thinking, the clearer your mind will become. Short-term thinking leads to scattered thoughts, and as a result, your mind cannot be clear. Conversely, long-term thinking leads to a clear mind. Short-term thinking leads to confusion.
慢聊远见与短视的差异。
Chatting about the difference between foresight and shortsightedness. Xiafeng. February 2nd, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. The farther we look ahead, the simpler and lighter life becomes. The closer we focus, the more complex and burdensome it becomes. Are you considering tomorrow's life? Or are you thinking about life 10 years from now? How about 60 years from now? Or even 100 years from now? Imagine ourselves standing at a crossroads, with one path led by a president saying, "Follow me, and I will give you a position in government." Another path led by a billionaire saying, "Follow me, and I will make you rich." Then, a pastor saying, "Follow me, and I will lead you to heaven." Finally, a philosopher saying, "Follow me, and I will help you discern right from wrong." Which path should we choose? This decision involves a person's perspective. As we have already clarified, the longer the time limit for thinking about outcomes, the clearer our thoughts become, and the brighter our future becomes. Conversely, the shorter the time limit for thinking, the more confused we are about the future. At the same time, we know that tigers will never grow wings. We should never fantasize about having all the advantages. Thus, when making choices, we know that following the president will only secure tomorrow's benefits. Following the billionaire will secure benefits 10 years from now. Following the pastor will secure benefits after death. And following the philosopher will ensure that we live a clear and straightforward life. Now, who are you ready to follow? Is there anyone thinking, "I'll follow the president first. Maybe I can gain a position, make money, go to heaven, and live a clear life"? If you think that way, it proves that your thinking is unclear, and the issue of foresight and shortsightedness does not even arise. You are a muddled individual, a patient with schizophrenia, living in a fantasy world because such a thing is almost impossible. The vast majority of people in humanity lack foresight. They drift with the wind, pursuing immediate benefits, saying, "Whoever offers me the most money, I'll follow them," or "I'll follow whoever can provide me with comfort, excitement, and pleasure," or "I'll follow whoever can give me a government position," or "I'll follow whoever has the highest reputation." These are all short-sighted behaviors. It's similar to many parents helping their children choose a college and major based solely on which one will best secure a job with a higher salary after graduation. A very short-sighted approach. Foresight means knowing the future outcome of a certain phenomenon. The longer the time span of knowing the result, the more foresight one has. For example, some people see a child's appearance, behavior, and way of speaking and conclude that the child will become an outstanding talent 20 years later. Others see a teenager shoveling manure while reading a book and predict that this person will undoubtedly become a future leader. Some people witness an official accepting a bribe and predict that this person will end up in prison 10 years later, and so on. These are all instances of foresight. Short-sightedness, on the other hand, means prioritizing immediate benefits without considering the future consequences. For example, polluting rivers and exploiting others for personal wealth, giving up faith for personal safety and gain, betraying close friends and family for promotion, willingly singing praises to the devil to avoid risks, distorting facts, and confusing right and wrong for the sake of promotion, and being opportunistic without principles. These are all forms of short-sightedness. The benefits of foresight are avoiding pitfalls, being proactive in taking preventive measures, and maintaining confidence in the future even during extremely challenging times, instead of compromising one's principles to ally with wrongdoers and assist in their evil deeds. The tragedy of short-sightedness is that it may bring temporary gains and secure personal interests. However, when circumstances change, they might encounter troubles or even disasters. Anyone only considering immediate benefits or benefits 3 to 4 years ahead is undoubtedly short-sighted. Those considering benefits 10 years or longer ahead are surely individuals with foresight. Anyone considering benefits 100 years ahead is extraordinary and no longer an ordinary person. As for those considering benefits thousands, tens of thousands, or billions of years ahead, they are surely gods, Buddhas, or immortals.
自然之道在日常生活中的运用。
The application of the way of nature in daily life. Xiafeng. November 2nd, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. What is the way of nature? Let us gain inspiration and understanding from the natural world. Take a corn seed, plant it in moist soil, and within 1 day, the embryo germinates. After about 1 week, a small shoot emerges from the ground. Around 27 days later, it starts to grow new leaves. After 52 days, it develops corn silk, and male pollen appears at the top. Around 90 days later, the corn cob matures. In about 100 days, the corn will be ready for harvest. The corn grain takes 100 days from entering the soil to maturing, and this is the way of nature. An egg hatches into a chicken in around 21 days under normal conditions, and this is also the way of nature. Water freezes into solid at 0 degrees, melts into liquid above 0 degrees, and evaporates into gas at 100 degrees. Temperature changes lead to variations in the water's molecular state, and this is the way of nature. Water flows naturally, and when the melon is ripe, it falls off the vine. These are powerful proofs of the way of nature. Looking at the vast world, apart from many phenomena caused by human activities, all other phenomena change and evolve according to the way of nature. It can be said that all things in the world follow the way of nature. Humans are one species in nature and are also bound by the laws of the way of nature. For example, aging and death are inevitable, but humans have subjectivity and thinking, so they have the tendency and ability to deviate from the way of nature. When we summarize the disasters in human society and the causes of individual troubles and suffering, we find that they are caused precisely by violating the way of nature. Conversely, when society is stable, the weather is favorable, and people live happily and contentedly, it is a result of adhering to and following the way of nature. Therefore, we can conclude that when people obey and follow the way of nature, society becomes harmonious and stable, and people live in harmony and happiness. On the other hand, when they go against and disrupt the way of nature, society becomes turbulent and unstable, and people suffer and endure hardships. So how do we obey the way of nature? Let me explain through some everyday phenomena. The phenomenon of sudden wealth. Analyzing the 100-day maturity process of corn seeds after entering the soil, we can see that the phenomenon of sudden wealth goes against the way of nature. Wealth and prosperity should be accumulated little by little, day by day, following the natural course of events. Instant wealth is not in accordance with the way of nature, and its result is catastrophic. It leads to extreme and distorted psychological activities, dramatic changes in language, gestures, and even physiological functions. The attitudes and demands of others towards the individual change, often leading to contradictions and conflicts. In such cases, the phenomenon of sudden wealth results in inflated desires, strained relationships, an imbalanced normal life order, and twisted and distorted mental states. In short, it increases troubles, suffering, anxiety, and fear. Many people love gambling, playing the stock market for speculation, and engaging in betting. All of these are the psychological outcomes that go against the principles of the way of nature. Similarly, corruption, borrowing money for business ventures to quickly get the first bucket of gold. To live in a luxurious mansion, drive luxury cars, and so on, all ideas and actions aimed at getting rich quickly go against the way of nature. This is like sowing corn seeds and expecting a harvest after just 3 to 5 days. The result will undoubtedly bring numerous troubles, sufferings, anxiety, and worries. Therefore, everything cannot be rushed. Any mentality or action that seeks quick success violates the way of nature, and the result is undoubtedly contrary to one's wishes. By going against the way of nature, any self-satisfied success will bring countless hidden dangers. These hidden dangers will gradually be exposed or erupt in the individual's future life. For example, corrupt officials who are smug and self-satisfied may end up in prison or get kidnapped or murdered in their future life journey. The fear of death. 99% of people have a fear of death, which is a very irrational mentality. Death is the most natural and just thing, as everything in the world ultimately leads to death. Even the heaven and the earth will have a day of extinction. How could humans be an exception? To eliminate the fear of death, one must understand the principles of the way of nature. Once understood, one can face death calmly without disturbance. Death is not an accidental event. It is an inevitable trend that cannot be avoided. Therefore, the best mentality is to embrace death with a smile. Whether in fear or smiling, death is inevitable. Fear makes people timid and fearful, while smiling makes people live a relaxed, free, and enjoyable life. Why not embrace death with a smile and live a life full of romance? In fact, those who understand the mysteries of life and time are the least afraid of death because death opens another door for the journey of life. Perhaps the scenery after death is even more fascinating and pleasant. Thus, those who understand the way of nature and walk on its path will never fear death. If one still fears death, it means they are on a path that deviates from the way of nature. The phenomenon of poverty. Have you noticed that the more impoverished and backward a place is, the more likely it is to suffer from natural disasters and human-made calamities? Similarly, impoverished people tend to have narrow, conservative, stubborn, short-sighted, selfish, and harmful thinking patterns. There seems to be a hidden spell that says, the more they have, the more they are given, and the less they have, the more they stay impoverished. I used to be puzzled by why places in poverty are more prone to disasters and why impoverished people tend to be conservative, stubborn, and harmful. After repeatedly studying the book without words, I finally discovered that the root cause lies in violating the way of nature. When we observe birds, whether eagles or sparrows, migratory or resident birds, they are always busy surviving. However, impoverished regions and individuals living in poverty are not as busy as birds. This indicates that they are not walking on the path of the way of nature. The way of nature tells us that the more accommodating a place is to various species, the easier it is to survive on this place. Similarly, for humans, those who have an open mind and embrace diverse ideas and lifestyles are more likely to avoid disasters and move towards prosperity and happiness. As the saying goes, the one who steals will not become wealthy, and the one who treats guests well will not be poor. If a person's home always has guests from all over, it will not be a place of poverty. Take the United States, for example. It is prosperous, strong, civilized, and free. Why? Because the United States embraces the largest number of multi-ethnic, multi-faith, multi-group, and multilingual immigrants in the world. Immigrants make up 15.3% of the total population in the United States. It is not difficult to understand from this point that in the past, present, and future, the United States has been prosperous and powerful. Conversely, when we look at poor and underdeveloped countries, most of them are closed and exclude foreigners. Biodiversity is a sign of prosperity, which aligns with the way of nature. A place that closes itself off and excludes outsiders goes against the way of nature, leading to inevitable poverty. Regarding individuals, those who refuse to accept new ideas, cultures, concepts, and lifestyles will inevitably become conservative, stubborn, and fall into poverty and decline. Phenomenon of disease. Disease is a sign of violating the way of nature. Following the natural way of rising with the sun and resting with the sunset is in accordance with the way of nature. Those who violate it will eventually fall ill. Regular routines in daily life and moderation in diet are in harmony with the way of nature. Violations of these principles will lead to illness. Negative mental states such as anger, comparison, envy, greed, aggressiveness, belligerence, selfishness, and the pursuit of pleasure and so on, also violate the way of nature, leading to illness. Here, I propose a Goldbach conjecture regarding diseases. I encourage readers to gather, summarize, analyze, and reason to verify it. The conjecture is, anyone who has a disease must have violated the way of nature, and anyone without a disease must be following the way of nature. Phenomenon of seeking immediate gain and profits. First of all, let me tell you that 99% of humanity seeks immediate gain and profits. Any phenomenon of seeking immediate gain and profits is a violation of the way of nature. From forcing children to abandon play for studying to commercial endeavors seeking the first bucket of gold, bribery and corruption in the business world, or cutting corners to get ahead, all these attempts to gain benefits by violating natural laws and even in the realm of spiritual cultivation, many people barely scratch the surface of cultivating themselves but wish to become immortals or enlightened beings. Moreover, many people lack even basic knowledge of how to be a decent human being. Yet, having learned only a few pieces of patchwork jargon related to spiritual cultivation, they audaciously present themselves as masters, attempting to propagate their teachings and mislead others. Many people show a lack of diligence in their studies, resort to deception and trickery in their work, fail to contemplate deeply in their thoughts, and neglect serious academic inquiry. Yet, they constantly harbor the desire to achieve rapid success and prosperity. But where can such success come so easily and effortlessly? Once they achieve their wishes too effortlessly, without a doubt, they step into a trap and plant hidden dangers. Planned economy and market economy. Planned economy violates the way of nature, while market economy aligns with the way of nature. When we observe nature, no human intervention is required for management. Species naturally reproduce and their populations self-regulate. Over billions of years, nature proceeds orderly without disorder. However, once humans intervene, disrupting the natural course, disruptions occur, and calamities like droughts, floods, pest infestations, fires, extreme heat, and extreme cold emerge. Similarly, looking at countries, those with market economies prosper, while those with planned economies will inevitably be poor and underdeveloped. The more government intervention, the worse the situation becomes. Conversely, the less government intervention, the healthier and more prosperous the economy becomes. The application of the way of nature in daily life is discussed through the above-mentioned phenomena. In human society, there are countless occurrences of deviating from the way of nature. I hope everyone can take the examples I provided as a starting point and extend their understanding to other situations, gradually realizing the benefits of following the way of nature. I can clearly tell you that the way of nature is the way of the greatest creator.
论借力天时之机密
On borrowing the opportune moments of heaven's timing. Xiefeng. November 12, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. When the timing of the heavens is off, the sun and moon lack radiance. When the timing of the earth is off, grass and trees do not thrive. When the timing of water is off, the waves are not calm. When the timing of people is off, the flow of fortune is blocked. Rhapsody on dwelling in the mountains. The timing of heaven is a subtle mechanism, and the opportune moment is the way of heaven. When the opportune moment arrives, all things respond and flourish. When it departs, all phenomena follow randomly and wither away. Humans possess the insight into the subtleties of heaven's timing. Following the timing of heaven brings smoothness and prosperity, while going against it leads to stagnation and obstruction. Heaven's timing is beyond human control or manipulation. The only way to prosper is to align with the timing and circumstances. There is a saying, times create heroes, but it is not just heroes. Times also create the wealthy, tyrants, experts, and scholars. Both fame and fortune are created by seizing the opportune moments, while disasters and misfortunes are similarly formed. Ignorant and foolish people do not understand the timing of heaven, and those who go against it will face hardships. Even if one has vast knowledge and aspirations to conquer the universe, going against the timing of heaven makes it difficult to display one's talents and fulfill one's ambitions. Conversely, petty individuals, when they follow the timing of heaven, can also have luxurious mansions, fancy cars, and a bustling scene of carriages and horses in front of their gates. Those who truly understand the secrets of seizing opportune moments are humble and unpretentious. They avoid calamities by acting humbly. Those who are arrogant and rely on their talents are unaware of the secrets of heaven's timing and will inevitably face punishment. A person's talents are shaped by the circumstances of the times. Without favorable circumstances, there are no talented individuals. For example, during the Cultural Revolution, there were no private entrepreneurs. It is wrong to say that heroes create their own opportunities. Without the assistance of favorable timing, a hero could be a thug, but with the support of favorable timing, a thug can instantly become a hero. Natural timing and social timing are distinct. The changing of the 4 seasons, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, is natural timing, which humans can only follow and not alter. Social timing arises from the cycle of cause and effect. When negative karma exceeds a critical threshold, the timing will turn adverse. Conversely, when positive merits surpass a certain threshold, the timing will turn favorable. For individuals, they should be modest and humble, conforming to the natural timing, which is to revere nature. When social timing conflicts with one's nature, one should hide their talents and bide their time. When social timing aligns with one's nature, they should seize the opportunity to fully display their abilities. Opportunities lost may never return. There are major and minor opportune moments. Major opportune moments refer to global-scale occurrences, such as the global use of masks. Minor opportune moments refer to local events, such as Ukraine facing an invasion, which leads to emigration. To follow the timing of heaven is to borrow its power and seize the opportune moments. Just like migratory birds migrate with the power of heaven, the rise of private entrepreneurs is also supported by the power of heaven. Going abroad to study and start a business also benefits from the assistance of the timing of heaven. If social timing closes the country's borders, how can one fulfill their desire to go abroad? Therefore, in countless threads and fibers, its essence remains unchanged. Let it gather and disperse as it may, the willow tree still gracefully sways. Don't mock the fleeting beauty of spring's soft fluff, for it has no roots yet endures the gusty stuff. With a favorable wind as my guide, I ascend high and bright, riding on good fortune, soaring to the heights. When the weather is clear, dry the grass. When the iron is hot, strike it. Noble people are hard to encounter, but when you do, be respectful. Good timing is hard to come by, but when you encounter it, seize it. Do not miss the opportune moments, as missing them leads to regret and disappointment.
城市在天内库被扒掉的启示。
Achieving success through heavenly timing. Insights from losing my underpants. Xiafeng. March 8, 2023. Edited by Chinyo. Last night, The four of us were playing the card game Struggling Upstream, a Chinese card game similar to Hearts, and I ended up losing all my clothes. Note: in this context, baguang refers to losing all the chips in the game, not stripping off clothes. In the game, losing a round results in losing one chip, and losing 5 chips is considered being baguang, stripped off. Winning a round gains you 1 chip. Each player starts with 5 chips for each round of the game. For me, it was an experience of utter defeat, something I hadn't experienced since I started playing the game at the age of 4 or 5. Could it be that my card skills have regressed? No. It's that the Tao has bestowed upon me a profound gift, allowing me to further understand the rules and principles hidden within the seemingly chaotic and disorderly holographic order. The ancient sages have long told us, man plans and the heavens decide. Before one experiences a thorough defeat, these teachings are merely theoretical without personal experience and realization. Only through experiencing failure or triumph can one truly comprehend their essence. In the control of the Tao, regardless of how exceptional one's card skills are, or how good the cards they hold, they may still lose and be left with nothing, stripped bare. Similarly, regardless of how poor one's card skills are or how bad the cards they hold, they still have a chance to win the game. Just observe people around you. Some may be exceptionally good-looking, yet their lives are miserable. Some may have a humble appearance but live for 100 years in peace. Some may possess exceptional talent and intelligence, yet meet a tragic end. Some may be ignorant and clueless, yet live their lives unscathed. Some may be immensely wealthy, yet end up in prison. Some may live their whole lives in poverty but still enjoy family happiness. I have written an article called Mahjong, Holography and Chinese Culture, which was inspired by playing Mahjong and understanding the underlying principles. Last night, while playing poker, Struggling Upstream, I further realized the profound connotation of man plans and the heavens decide. Those who have played Mahjong and poker must deeply feel that in a game with 4 players, the cards you draw each time are different from the last time. Even if you play all your life, it is difficult to draw a hand identical to a hand you previously held. The 54 card combinations are astronomical, seemingly random, disorderly, and chaotic. Yet, each player's outcome is almost predetermined. This is the principle of holography, where hidden within the seemingly chaotic disorder lies strict and elusive rules and principles. Behind these rules and principles, there are mysteries that are unseen, unheard, and untouchable. These mysteries are the truth of holography, but they are not the entirety of the truth. The true core truth lies in Tao's holographic mechanism. Understanding the principles of the holographic mechanism, one will no longer seek quick gains, feel restless, impose one's will on others, or be overly competitive. In the holographic mechanism, the best way to live is to play, entertain, and experience, while everything else is illusory and transient. Only by understanding Tao's holographic mechanism can one become an celestial being.
同维度认知解决不了同维度矛盾。
Cognition within the same dimension cannot resolve internal conflicts. Xiafeng. May 17, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Can those who love marriage and family solve the series of conflicts and crises that occur within them? The answer is impossible. It's like standing in a muddy pit and trying to clean your feet. It's not possible. Just as a mouse cannot solve the crisis of being caught by a cat with its level of cognition, and just as a patriot cannot build a world of great harmony. It's as futile as a fish trying to fly to a forest to settle in and sing. Farmers cannot solve their own contradictions and crises, and likewise, workers and intellectuals cannot solve their own contradictions and crises. Similarly, a nation, a country, a political party, and a religion cannot resolve their own contradictions and crises because cognition within the same dimension cannot solve conflicts within that dimension. Humanity itself cannot solve its own contradictions and crises because human cognitive ability is limited by time and space. It always tends to focus on one thing at the expense of others. When one contradiction is resolved, It will sow the seeds of another 8 contradictions, and when one crisis is resolved, it will give rise to 8 more crises. People coming from other places can easily discover the deficiencies and shortcomings of the local area. People from developed areas can easily find business opportunities and make money in less developed regions. The contradictions and crises of an underdeveloped or even impoverished country need people from developed civilizations to resolve them. Humanity's contradictions and crises require extraterrestrial beings to solve. From this, we understand a principle. To resolve conflicts, confrontations, and crises, do not seek solutions and approaches within the same dimension. Internal contention results in an increase in entropy, leading to rigidity and death. Instead, actively and proactively introduce people and cultures from different dimensions to overcome one's own contradictions and long-standing problems. The more pronounced regionalism, nationalism, and patriotism, the less conducive it is to resolve one's own contradictions and crises. This principle also applies to individuals. The stronger the ego, the better one feels about oneself, and the more reluctant one is to listen to others' advice, the greater the hidden crisis on the path of life. Because individuals cannot truly know and understand themselves, those around them are more aware of their situation. When a person rejects the advice of others and stubbornly insists on their own course of action, crises and dangers await ahead. Therefore, when a person is troubled, suffering, and worried, the best approach is to abandon their own cognition and seek external methods to solve the problems. If one always believes they are right and refuses to listen to others' advice, their troubles, suffering, and anxieties will not decrease but instead increase. In conclusion, do not seek solutions and ways to resolve crises within the same dimension of people and culture. Instead, look to people and cultures from different dimensions to find solutions and paths to overcome problems and crises.
问题无解向外探索。
If a problem seems unsolvable, explore beyond its boundaries. Xiafeng. June 26, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Suppose a group of people live in a dim, dark, damp cave. How can they break free from this predicament? Is it possible to transform the gloomy, wet cave into a sunny, comfortable environment? Trying to study, research, strive, and work hard inside the cave is almost futile. The best way is not to contemplate within the cave but to step out of it. Stepping out of the cave, one would embrace the bright spring scenery, clear mountains, beautiful waters, fresh air, and vast territory, and all discomforts would vanish. In August 1896, China was a place where men wore long braids and women bound their feet. Ox carts and horse carriages were commonly seen on the streets. The houses were made of mud, and the roads were made of earth. Even a gust of wind could blow up clouds of dust. Beggars were everywhere, and there were no household electrical appliances, not even a flashlight. At that time, Li Hongzhang visited the United States and saw skyscrapers on the streets, with cars passing by, men in suits and leather shoes, and women bared their chests and shoulders. There were electric lights indoors. The contrast with China was immense. If he had not ventured abroad, Li Hongzhang would never have known how backward China was at that time. In 1978, China's per capita GDP was only $156, while the per capita GDP of the world's poorest countries in sub-Saharan Africa was $490. Monaco in Europe had a per capita GDP of $38,400, the United States was $10,600, and Japan was $8,821. Imagine how much China resembled a group of people living in a cave who had never seen the world. At that moment, Chinese leaders decisively abandoned the policy of isolation and sent a large number of government officials to various parts of the world for investigation, especially to developed Western countries. As a result, they broadened their horizons and opened their minds. Subsequently, China found its path of development through reform and opening up, leading to over 30 years of rapid economic growth. If they had not explored development outside but continued to study development ideas inside the cave, it would have been difficult to maintain a per capita GDP of $156. How long does it take to register a company? I don't know which country has the fastest company registration process, but I registered a company in a certain country in less than 10 minutes. There was no need to bribe officials, nor did I need to find acquaintances. I selected the company name, signed, paid, and received a complete set of company documents, all within the said time. Throughout human history on Earth for thousands of years, how many people have lived happily, joyfully, freely, and blessedly? Are there any? There are very few. More people live in distress, pain, conflict, struggle, oppression, anxiety, and fear. Why has this issue concerning all of humanity remained unresolved for thousands of years? Take a look at all the so-called great figures and thinkers throughout human history. Observe their thoughts and actions. Look at the discussions on the internet today, especially those of so-called masters, including high-ranking officials in the United Nations and presidents and leaders of various countries. They are all contemplating and pondering within the cave. Why don't they go outside to take a look? By stepping out of the Earth and observing the stars and oceans of the thousand-year world planet, and following their way of life, all the problems facing humanity will be easily solved. By walking out of the Earth and exploring the thousand-year world among the vast sea of stars, following their way of life, wouldn't all the problems faced by humanity suddenly become clear and easily solvable? If a problem cannot be solved in Christianity, look for answers in Buddhism. If Buddhism cannot solve a problem, look for answers in Islam. If Islam cannot solve a problem, look for answers in Taoism. If Taoism cannot solve a problem, go to the frontiers of science for answers. If science cannot solve a problem, look for answers in theology and metaphysics. In short, do not seek solutions and paths within your own cave of knowledge and cognition. Instead, step outside your own cognitive circle and seek answers outside. For some problems, it is much more difficult for those within the circle to find a solution than ascending to the sky. But by stepping out, one will find that others had already solved them hundreds or even thousands of years ago. I once wrote an article called, "When you think you're right, you're already wrong." If we do not step out of our own circle of knowledge and cognition, closing ourselves off in our own cave, then we will follow in the footsteps of past mistakes. Even after 10,000 years, humanity will still be trapped in the sea of suffering and unable to extricate itself. Isolationism, closing our eyes and ears, blocking information, shouting slogans, and paying no attention to external affairs, will inevitably lead to ignorance, backwardness, barbarism, and ultimately extinction.
我的自然之道观。
My view of the way of nature. Xiafeng. December 4th, 2023. Translation edited by Chinyoi emphasized that Lifechanuan follows the way of nature because it is synonymous with the way of the greatest creator. Nature equals the greatest creator, and the greatest creator equals nature. Nature embodies all the laws and principles of the universe. Everything in the universe exists and evolves within these laws and principles. In this sense, nature is Tao and Tao is nature. Tao is the spirit of the greatest creator, the consciousness of the greatest creator. Therefore, we know that the greatest creator, Tao, and nature are one. The greatest creator equals Tao equals nature. Nature equals Tao equals the greatest creator. Everything perceived by the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind is a manifestation of nature. Every phenomenon, every event in nature, is part of its evolutionary process. From the fluttering of a butterfly's wings to the violent eruption of a volcano, from a person sneezing to the explosion of a star, everything happens within the embrace of nature, so we should follow the way of nature. In fact, whether we follow the way of nature or not, the reality is that we are already within the way of nature. Everything in the universe is within the way of nature. No life, no phenomenon, no event can escape the palm of the way of nature. understanding both the essence and the reason behind things. Having a clear mind and bright eyes brings us endless benefits. Firstly, our journey of life will become simple, light, joyful, and pleasant, rather than complex, heavy, troubled, and painful. Secondly, we will avoid reefs, pitfalls, obstacles, and deception, making our journey of life smooth and safe. Finally, by following the way of nature, we can reach a better space. I'll give some examples to illustrate. In Life Genuine, there is no idol worship, just a love for nature. Life Genuine does not celebrate festivals related to gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints, nor does it celebrate festivals related to countries, nations, great people, or individuals. Only natural festivals, such as the Mid-Autumn Festival and the Spring Festival. In Life Genuine, there are no temples, monasteries, shrines, or churches. We just integrate into nature. Isn't life simpler and easier this way? Things undergo cycles of formation, duration, decay, and emptiness. Life experiences cycles of birth, aging, sickness, and death. This is the way of nature. Therefore, we will no longer mourn the decline of something, nor will we sorrow over our own aging or the passing of our loved ones. I live each day happily and freely, allowing everything to return to its rightful place, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. Why in Life Genuine? One should not interfere with others' minds and affairs. Because everyone is within the way of nature, everyone has their own unique life trajectory and destiny. Interfering with others' minds and affairs not only annoys people, but also disrupts and influences nature's arrangement for them. Therefore, watching someone go to heaven without jealousy or interference. Watching someone go to hell without intervention or interference. Great as the sun, beautiful as peony flowers, have never interfered with anyone's destiny for millions of years. So small as you and me should not impose influence on others. Life Genuine does not advocate the cultivation of supernatural powers, gong, magic, and techniques, because as humans, the way of nature has already arranged everything for us. All the skills needed for survival are provided, even the thresholds of hearing and sight are set to protect us. Otherwise, if we could hear plants growing, hear people talking 3 kilometers away, see ghosts around us and gods in the sky, we would not survive. Therefore, as humans, longing for and seeking supernatural powers, gong, magic, and techniques are contrary to the way of nature, and it goes against the way of nature. Understanding the way of nature, we can be as calm as water and tranquil and serene. Born in poverty? Well, that's okay. Born into wealth? Well, that's fine too. Stay in a 5-star hotel? Feels great. Stay in a thatched cottage? Wow, beautiful. In short, adapt to circumstances and remain calm. A mouse is a mouse, a cat is a cat. This is the arrangement of the way of nature, so there is no insistence on others nor on oneself. No insistence on cabbage having the value of radishes, no insistence on wolves turning into herbivores. No insistence on children becoming rich and famous, no disdain for parents not leaving a substantial inheritance. No insistence on others acting according to one's own intentions, nor insistence on oneself becoming a certain type of person. Act according to one's own inner preferences, become the person that the universe needs according to the arrangement of nature, play the role that one should. After walking the way of nature, I discovered that selfish desires and attachment to the self are contradictory to the way of nature. Consequently, selfish desires and attachment to the self vanished. Without them, I eventually realized that I belonged to a heavenly life, having transcended the ordinary. It turns out that selflessness leads to self, and selflessness leads to fulfillment, is the highest and most profound secret of cultivation. Only by reaching the state of having nothing can one discover that they possess everything. After understanding the way of nature and adhering to it, looking back at everything in nature, observing everything happening in human society, and witnessing the aspirations and actions of people around us, it's full of humor, very funny. While for yourself, like driving with a GPS navigation map installed, Regardless of how complicated the roads or how challenging the city may be, you will eventually reach your destination.